Hi there, welcome back to another week of Counter-Strike game and skin market update. This is SkinomiCS2, and this video covers the 28th of July to the 3rd of August 2025. Starting with the Armory Pass, we saw the return for the charms top the list this week, with both collections increasing by a margin of more than 10%. Otherwise, not much else has changed since last week. Both cases still offer a risk-free and profitable way of playing the game. Moving on to the Austin Major stickers. Again, not much changed here, and I do not expect it to change until the 75% off sale begins, which hopefully should just be around the corner. As for souvenirs from the Austin Major, the number of packages in the green have decreased to 7. Due to low volumes, the Pain Inferior package for Inferno has a return of 227%. In contrast, popular packages such as Dust 2 between Vitality and Mongolz have a very low return at the moment. Now looking at news relating to the game update earlier this week, which introduced more bugs than fixes. Firstly, the number of inputs during subticks were capped at 5. This had originally resulted in broken movements, as inputs would simply be ignored by the system. Then, in a patch 2 days later, b-hopping became perfect in every attempt when playing under 64 frames per second. Clearly Valve broke something. In fact, an employee of Valve commented they are working on a fix on Reddit. For now though, enjoy this clip of perfect movements, which is sure to be patched relatively soon.
What the fuck?
The significant update also introduced Anim Graph 2, which represents an overhaul of previous animations. The animations upon release were extremely buggy, with clipping issues affecting several skins. The worst affected was the bayonet, which was subjected to both a new and objectively worse pullout animation, as well as several clipping issues. Pleasantly surprising was that the market did not move significantly either way as a result of the update, including with the bayonet. Most people expect Valve to patch these over time, but I'd argue more testing should have been performed prior to release. Case in point, the update broke the texture for all AWP skins. This was patched within 2 days, but I digress. This should have been found in testing. It is not all bad news from these new animation changes though. Empty pistols now show as such with the slide remaining back. This applies to both when they are held in hand, as well as when they are dropped on the ground. Additionally, code in-game has been found for agents holding chicken in hand. If it were to be introduced to the game, I'd assume it would resemble some sort of pet system, available to be displayed in the main menu of the game. Let's take a look. Moreover, source code has also been found for a new bidding system in the Armory Pass section of the game. This is quite interesting, and here is a clip of what it could look like. Moving on, an emailing system which informs Steam users of trades have been put in place. This is a positive change, which will increase awareness of scams, especially for players that have been away from the game for a while. However, a post on Reddit found errors in these emails, hence I would suggest using the in-game inventory as a source of all truth for now. CS Floating Australia has introduced goods and service tax, which is similar to value-added tax in Europe. Noting this is not tax advice, but this is because Australia's tax laws classify skins as personal items, rather than collectibles typical NFTs are classified as. The benefit of this is that gains for items that were purchased for under 10,000 AUD are also not subjected to capital gains tax. At the end of the day, it does mean that marketplaces which implement GST are hugely disadvantageous for the user in Australia. I am unsure how it will translate into other nations, but it is definitely something to look out for down the line. The Chinese trading platform Youping has been seen advertising job positions for debt collectors. This is likely in response to the trade reversal update. Having this type of security will keep the platform more integral for legitimate users. However, the solution will only work in China. The Stockholm holographic stickers have seen significant rises this week, the most notable of which is the EG sticker, which shot up over 600% over the past month. The speed of these rises indicate market manipulation to me. and I would caution viewers in buying these for now. Last headline this week. The CSGO GOAT, S1mple, has joined the Tier 3 team BC Games. His post on Twitter suggests that this is the only team that is willing to give him a chance, and he is willing to build a top tier team from it. I have no clue where things will head from here, but I do believe BC Games will have the fun to become a Tier 1 team, as they are a wagering website soaked in cash. Finally, let's move on to our weekly craft idea. I have a craft of a phoenix this week, which utilizes stickers from the Armory Pass. All you need are 1 scorch loop and 3 reverse scorch loops placed in the order shown on the bottom right of the screen. The entire craft cost about $1, which is quite affordable for most. Switching gears to market analysis, the SkinomiCS2 Index, which contains a list of items I used to represent the market, recovered by a further 0.75% this week, which really shows the resilience of the market, given the abrupt game changes this week. The eSport Fire Index, which contains a list of 300 high-value liquid items, shows a similar story of a small recovery towards the market peak set before the trade protection. Moving on to buff value of trade and trade volume data sourced from the cheap instant skin trading site iTrade.gg. This is where the bad news hits as a result of the trade protection update. The trend is clearly downwards as trade volume are declining from less liquidity. A similar picture is mirrored with the total value and volume data sourced from SteamDT, although we can see some stabilization, which is comforting. Now, let's break the skin market movements this week down into categories. Starting off with knives and gloves. Knives and gloves were mostly slightly down this week. Higher tiered weapon skins showed a similar pattern, although the M4 is an outlier with a gain of almost 10%. Agents are positive this week. Nearly all agents have gained value this week. Surprisingly though, Agent Rixor saw an increase of 7% this week, as his unique brown gloves appear to have been replaced by the generic CT gloves. Last but not least, in the affordable weapon segment, we have seen mixed results, which is still not great for the overall health of the market. Moving on, according to CS2 case tracker, case unboxing numbers declined back down to 7.9 million. Player count continues to drop as well, with only 916,000 average concurrent players in the last 30 days. As a result of both trade protection and the lowering player count, non-active case prices have finally taken a hit, although somehow the original weapon case bucks the trend with a slight 2.5% increase. Active cases declined significantly. Both the recoil and revolution cases dropped by more than 10%. These two cases contain gloves as rare exceptional items, which have actually done alright. Let's now take a glimpse at this week's biggest winners and losers. I suspect all 3 winners this week to be as a result of market manipulation, given the extreme rate of price hike. We've already spoken about the Stockholm Holos in the headlines, but the other items include the Inks Holo from Rio, and the Neo Noir Glock have also been subjected to a massive capital injection. The 2 biggest losers come from Austin stickers, perhaps as expected, whereas the third is the Tornado M4 from the volatile old Inferno collection. Onto the top trades of the week, also sourced from the skin trading site iTrade.gg. The first place on buff comes from a Cato 14 Reason Gaming Holo sticker for $37,000. There were no images available, so I put my own. The second and third places come from a Wild Lotus and a clean pair of Hedge Mazes for $25,000 and $23,000 respectively. On CS Float, all 3 top sales came from Cato 14 capsules. A buyer is clearing these out. In fact, even the 4th and 5th places were Cato 14 capsules as well. The buyer has successfully risen the price to over $30,000 for offers still available on the market. This might signal a revival in interest for these capsules. Moving into game news. The update on Tuesday, which included the movement and animation changes, had also included some map changes, of which the most significant include angle changes around A site on Overpass, the opening of the church windows, and reinstallation of the apartment railings on Inferno, as well as a new box on Train's A site. 3 more updates were released in the week, covering mostly patches which aimed at fixing things broken by the animation system overhaul. Now onto the pro scene. Donk led Spirit to a victory at IEM Cologne. He has equaled Nico in career MVPs in just the 2nd year of his career. Incredible. Additionally, ESL has announced next year's IEM Cologne will be set as the first major of 2026. IEM Cologne also saw some interesting stats. First, that 2.8% of the Mongolian population tuning to Mongolz game against Na'Vi. Then, Mouse's victory against Vitality has ended Vitality's 37-game win streak on LAN in BO3 and BO5 games. Looking ahead, the matchups for Blast Bounty have been set. NRG will try to challenge Vitality, whereas Passion UA goes against Spirit. Very brave of these teams. Finally, more transfers happened in these early stages of the new season. Ex-Na'Vi juniors joined up Team FUT from Turkey. BB signed a new duo from Parivision and 9Panda after benching Axile. Fnatic signed Cypher. 9Z added a duo from Tier 2. Nemesis is poised to enter CS. Fizzy joined 9 on a loan from Wildcard. Odyx signed Kozira. Fiku steps away from OG after 3 years on the team. I am still open to skin donations, and a reminder to join my Discord. Please like, share and subscribe. On that bombshell, that was all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!